Hi everyone, we are Cosmic Playhouse, and we are recording today on August, 11th? It is the full moon.
Woo!
Woo! Full moon! The moon's in Aquarius and the sun's in Leo, so festive times, let the good times roll. And we're gonna just share a little bit of some world theater with you guys, right?
Right.
Thing that's been going on over the last couple weeks since we last posted on the new moon, and we are now back on the full moon.
All of this energy that's going on right now. In our last video, we talked about Pluto going into Aquarius, and it's going to go into Aquarius for 20 years in February, okay? So we've had Saturn in Aquarius since March of 2020, and we all know what happened then, okay? So we are still in this paradigm of complete social unrest, upheaval, plague, you know.
Yeah, and we've had Saturn and Uranus squaring off. Uranus is in Taurus; those have been squaring off. It's been this ongoing struggle.
Right. So we can't just talk about this full moon because, just as like, oh, the next couple of weeks. It really is the last couple of years and the next 20 years. Okay. So, and the Uranus is called also the Great Awakener, right? So, but we've got Leo who wants to party and frolic and celebrate itself in the sun. But fucking Uranus and Saturn, no, they are running the party with their arguing, and they want to argue about who's more awake or woke. Like, you can't be awake and be awoke. We're woke. You're not awoke. We're awake. So everyone feels this need to change, but we're arguing about who's the real revolutionary or who's the authority figure. That's Saturn. So Saturn and Uranus have been like duking it out, and it's playing out completely on the world stage everywhere, and that's sort of obvious. But we can't just talk about this full moon as just it's a macro. It really is a world stage, and that's what we've decided we want to talk about. We want to talk about it is a cosmic playhouse, so we have huge big themes, right? World themes, and who's going to be in the news. The news cycle is mirroring the astrology; it always has. So that's why we're going to start with the full moon and talk about the moon cycles.
But we've had some big news, even just in the last week. It's been crazy in the news. Every time you turn around, there's something else. So should I start talking about some of the players?
Yes, we have the scene set. We're in Act 2, the full moon. So now we need to introduce the characters. And by the way, we didn't cast them.
No,
the universe did. Yeah. So don't get cross.
Don't get mad at me
if you don't like some of the cast, because we don't personally like them either.
I would never have cast Alex Jones. I mean, he doesn't have the looks. He doesn't have the personality. He doesn't have the talent. Like, he doesn't really have anything.
But he does make a good villain.
He's a great villain.
Yes.
But of course, he showed up in the news last week, and the best thing is there's just a little cosmic justice, a little like, oh, well, if it isn't the consequences of your own actions, motherfucker. And it was such a good feeling. So of course, like many astrologers, if you go online and Google Alex Jones's chart, like everyone's looking at it because it's crazy. So he's in Aquarius. He's actually got Jupiter conjunct Sun in Aquarius, and that was set off pretty much exactly. Saturn was exactly at 22 degrees Aquarius, just like his sun. His Jupiter's at 24, so he had Saturn hitting him.
Wasn't it? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but wasn't it exactly on the day that the settlement figure was handed down in court that Saturn exactly conjuncted his sun?
Yep. It was on the day. So it wasn't even the day that the trial ended. It was when it was like, guess what you have to pay? Mm-hmm. It was that. And that's, of course, very Saturn. It's very it's consequences, and it's also even its fiscal consequences too. Like,
Saturn is literally making Alex Jones his bitch.
Yes.
Literally.
And he has also had Pluto is in Capricorn at 27, which I'm thinking, we don't know his moon exact degree because we don't know the exact time of his birth, but most likely he has a moon in Libra, and I'm betting it's right around 27 degrees.
I would bet on that.
And
too.
He's got Uranus at 27 degrees Libra, so he's already got some like Uranus moon shit, and then Pluto setting it off. So this probably took him by surprise. I think he's one of those people that always thinks he's just going to get away with shit. And I thought it might be worth mentioning just natally, like, he has some kind of jacked up stuff going on. And he's got Mars at 21 degrees Taurus. And so there's a lot of, like, that's squaring that Sun and Jupiter and Aquarius. So he's got, like, there's some serious rage issues there.
What is this? Is it Saturn in Taurus, did you just say, or Mars?
His Mars is at 21 degrees Taurus.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that was getting hit. So, okay. Day of the Sandy Hook shooting, Pluto was at 8 degrees Capricorn. The day that this judgment got handed down and he had to pay all the money, Pluto was at 8 degrees Aries. Or not Pluto, Jupiter
was at
Jupiter
8 degrees.
Was 8 degrees Aries.
Good.
And I was like, there's something there
Yeah.
that I wanted to talk, because I was like, what would you, like, it's almost like this justice, like things coming to light. It's, you know, I don't know.
It's. I think it's cosmic justice. I think.
Yeah.
I think it's the universe slapping his.
Yeah,
ass.
and I mean, it's like, it's all of this stuff that it's like, when the big players come at you like that, it's
Which
like,
are Pluto and Jupiter, the outer.
yeah,
planet.
you have all this Pluto and Saturn and Uranus, all these big players like coming at you, and it's like everything that's happening to him, he wants to sit here and play the victim, which is what a lot of people are doing. Oh, wait, it's so terrible. But like, this is all you're doing. Like, you did this. It was your lies and your deception, and here's the other thing. He's got Neptune at 9 degrees Sagittarius and Mercury at 10 degrees Pisces. So he's prone to deceit. He's prone to lies.
That's a pathological liar aspect. Not that everyone that has that has a pathological liar.
Because you could also be a mystic. You could be, a dreamer. You could be
a drunk,
shaman,
a drug addict.
You could be a heroin addict.
It could be all those things.
Or you could just be liar, pants on fire.
Yes.
Delusion, spreading the lies. He's doing it like Mercury. It's like he's doing it via like his followers. He's spreading the shit on these lies on the internet. So there's just so many things going on there with his chart.
The interesting thing about these characters is because they're so, they always go to the narcissistic playbook of making themselves the victims.
Yeah.
The abuser.
Persecution.
Yes, it's a classic abuser language. That it's become the cult of white victimhood, white male victimhoods, and white men right now very much they love that cult.
Oh yeah.
They're casting themselves as the victims, and the orange cockroach of the apocalypse, he's actually the king of all the victims.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Everyone is picking on him.
I'm the most persecuted.
Yes.
I'm sure he's the most.
He is, because that's a very sociopathic thing to do.
Yeah.
They're the abusers, and they flip it to where they're the victims, and it's a very, very dangerous, very toxic mixture of it's just bad poetry too.
And that Mercury and Pisces, that is like the such like, I'm such the victim, Pisces, the shadow side of that Pisces is to play the victim, and he's got it squared by the Neptune, so it's like a persecution complex on top of a persecution complex, and like the king of gaslighting. Like, I'm just going to gaslight you to death.
The king of gaslighting. That's him. But I think it's interesting because you said that he had Mars at 21 degrees Taurus, which is very interesting that we just did. We had to pull up the chart on Merrick Garland because guess what? Merrick Garland kind of stole the spotlight today on the full moon. We were wondering who was going to show up on this full moon. Who was going to be the star? Because we're like I said, we're not writing this script.
I didn't cast anybody.
No, we didn't cast anybody. Merrick Garland today. The whole world's attention was on him. Boom! He just stole the scene. This little Scorpio. He's a Scorpio, but his Scorpio sun is at 21 degrees Scorpio. It's opposing Alex Jones's Mars at 21 degrees Taurus. I find that really interesting because that 20th degree, 21 to 23 degree is playing a lot into all of these stories this month. So I think that's interesting.
Merrick Garland definitely jumped into the spotlight, and he hasn't been someone that's been in the spotlight. He's been kind of like,
no, he's always backstage because he's a Scorpio, and he's got Pluto squares, and he doesn't really want the spotlight. And it's funny because he doesn't want to talk about it, and he wants to keep it secret. He's a perfect person. This whole dynamic is just blowing up right now, and So here we have Merrick Garland appears on the stage today, because we were going to record this yesterday or the day before. And so I was like, well, you know what? It's the full moon. Let's just let the full moon tell us, who the star is.
Right.
So here we go. And also, as there's news breaking as we're doing this, which is it's really crazy because, of course, the whole reason we think that Merrick Garland came out and made this announcement was because of this crazy guy who went into the FBI headquarters in Ohio or wherever that was.
Yeah, I think it was Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Went in with his nail gun.
Yeah.
And his AR-15.
Right. And he obviously, from what it looks like to us, now, we're not the news, so, you might want to fact check all of this.
Well, because it's just coming out.
It's just
super
coming
fresh,
out.
So we,
So
be
he
careful.
is. He obviously seems to be a MAGA guy who is actually, to me, looks like he's being, he's responding to the incitement of violence that we're getting from the cult of white victimhood calling out.
Right, led by the orange cockroach who's like, I'm so persecuted. We,
Yeah.
everyone needs to fight for me.
Yes. Merrick Garland sort of took center
what?
stage.
He's just like this quiet man. No, I didn't see it coming, and then out he comes. He's just like
Okay.
that introverted, nerdy actor that.
Right, right. He's like the Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so here we go. Let's talk about Merrick Garland real quickly. His chart. We haven't done a lot of research on it, but enough to pretend like we noticed something.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
so
Let's do it. Let's pretend like we know
Merrick
shit.
Garland is a Scorpio. He has a sun in Scorpio at 21 degrees, okay? It's squared by Pluto in Leo at 23 degrees. Saturn is now in Aquarius, sitting right between that, okay? So as an astrologer, this just excites us, but to try to explain why, it's because a lot of people see him as very, like, we all like, oh my God, he's kind of, come on, do something.
Right, everyone's like, why aren't you doing anything? And
Why don't you do anything?
He's just like, are you not doing anything?
He's a Scorpio,
Yeah.
okay? So he's doing shit. We just can't see it.
It's under the surface.
He really doesn't want to be on stage right now. He's the guy backstage who's basically just writing, the script as it goes, okay? So he's really more of a power player than we think. So, and having that Pluto square his sun, he kind of lives in this kind of internal pressure cooker anyway, okay? So that Pluto dynamic it really is about control. He's extremely disciplined.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's all of his, God knows
And
why he's that way.
patient.
Yes.
Like, that Scorpio Pluto energy, that's like, I'll take all the time I need.
Right. And so then we have Jupiter in Taurus, which is always around that degree as well in his natal chart. And that dynamic would be really hard for anybody not to crack under the pressure, because Saturn is on top of this grand fixed cross of his. Exactly.
Yeah.
So what it's done is it forced him. He didn't. It's like all the guns were like aimed at him. It forced him to walk out on the stage. He is like the guy that has to be
Uranus
like.
is in Taurus close to it too.
Yes.
So it's like
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah.
suddenly he's on stage.
And it's like all the guns had to be pointing on him because he didn't want to go out there. So all this, he's feeling this incredible pressure. Like to have that in your chart, to have Saturn squaring your Pluto and your Sun and your Jupiter and your North Node in Aquarius, it's so much pressure and tension that that's what drove him out to the spotlight, and that's what's doing it. It's almost, but he's also in the crosshairs. He's right in the middle of this cross, because it's like he's on the people. The guys on the right are aiming their guns at him, and the guys on the left were aiming his guns at him because you got to do something. So he's in the center. He really is in the middle of this crossfire, and it's kind of like, but his chart, it's all right there. It's amazing. Then he just shows up.
Shows up.
But he really is. It is kind of like this.
Upstages the orange cockroach, which is kind of nice.
Well, probably not for long or something.
Not for long. He'll be back. But
He'll be
whatever.
back.
He's a cockroach.
Yeah. But this display of power is very Pluto square Sun and square. We did underestimate him, and I think everyone underestimates Merrick Garland. But that is he kind of weaponizes. I think that's actually a good weapon here, because no one kind of saw it coming.
And watching the news, it's like it's so over the top that it is very theatrical. It's so over the top.
Right, and they jumped the shark today.
Oh.
They jumped the shark a lot.
And the shark's already been jumped so many times. Like, it's like ridiculous. This is like a Sharknado jumping its own.
It really
like,
is Sharknado.
It's a Sharknado jumping a piranha,
Right.
and their identical cousin came to visit at the same time. It's like just too much writing, guys. Too much.
Okay, and the thing is too that we have so much content. Marnie
So
and I,
much.
I mean, we don't even know how to narrow it down. So we'll never run out of things to talk about, but we want to keep it, we want to keep a sort of structure to it. So our structure really is a play.
Yeah.
It's the moon. The moon tells us. The moon is the stage, actually, and the sun is the light. So it reflects us down here.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's real clear, but. So we're really can't wait to see what happens, but we're not going to know till the next act, okay, you guys, which is going to be the new moon. So we're going to see how this plays out because this is the climax.
And then
of
we're
this
going to be
moon.
going into Virgo energy, so it's going to
Yeah.
be,
So get your geek on.
Mm-hmm.
Get your geek on. And sorry, Leos. Everyone wants to party and have fun, and Leo is the guy that's saying, "Can't we just love each other?
just get along and go to the beach, bro."
Oh, Merrick Garland being a Scorpio. One thing Marnie said to me a long time ago, and it's very true, it works out with Scorpios. She said, one thing about Scorpios.
Scorpions, what did I say? They will just like be chill. They're fine unless you fuck with them, and then that's when the little stinger pops out.
They always will sting you eventually, though.
Yeah.
Even the little quiet ones that you don't think.
Well, because sooner or later, you don't notice them.
Yeah, because there's a
Step up- 'cause
scorpion. They're in your shoe.
Remember that in Texas, like
They're in your
shaking
boot.
out your boots. Like I
Yes.
still feel like I have to shake out my boots because if you put your foot in your boot and you don't see the scorpion,
Merrick Garland,
he's hiding in the dark.
He's a little scorpion in the orange cockroach of the apocalypse's shoe.
He's like, orange cockroach, I'm gonna put on my America boots. Oh damn, there's fucking scorpion in there.
Ow!
Ow, I'm so persecuted.
The scorpion bit me.
He bit me. Wah, you guys, he bit me on my bone spur.
Good.
More on Alex Jones. So Uranus is 18 degrees Taurus, right? So Uranus actually was conjunct his Mars at 21 Taurus, really close anyway, and also squaring his Sun conjunct Jupiter in Aquarius. So Uranus was kind of giving him a little work over too.
Uranus, Alex Jones just got topped by Uranus.
It's so true. It happened. Okay, and then he's also got. So, we talked about Pluto being at 27 Capricorn, which I'm pretty sure was setting off his moon in Libra, but he's also got Venus at 25 Capricorn. So that Pluto conjunct Venus, that's no wonder it's such a huge, like, fiscal consequences.
It was really huge.
It was huge, but...
Does Alex Jones have a small Venus? It was really huge.
Pluto is big, but his Venus is
Actually,
super small.
Pluto is the smallest planet ever. It's not even really
yeah.
a planet.
Right,
And
so-
it's
still bigger than his Venus.
Yeah.